Ladies and gentlemen, in a world that's constantly pressuring you to fit in, to conform, to compete, there is a rare and powerful strength in three things: humility, originality, and authenticity. These are not just admirable traits. They are principles that lead to long-lasting success, real influence, and inner peace. Let's start with humility. True humility is often misunderstood. Many people equate humility with weakness, with passivity, or with a lack of confidence, but that is a tragic misconception. In truth, humility is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It is not the absence of strength, but the control of it. It is not a denial of your gifts, but the awareness that those gifts were given to serve something greater than yourself. A humble person does not walk into the room needing to be seen. They don't need the spotlight. They don't crave validation. They carry within them a quiet power, a strength that doesn't shout, but speaks volumes through character, discipline, and consistency. Humility is strength under control. It is power without arrogance. It is confidence without ego. When you are humble, you become approachable. People are drawn to humility because it is rare in a world full of self-promotion. Humility opens the door to relationships, to mentorship, to growth. No one wants to teach the person who thinks they know it all. No one wants to help the person who refuses to listen. But the humble learner, that person will always have a seat at the table. The great paradox of humility is this: the more you achieve, the more humble you should become. The higher you rise, the lower you must bow. Why? Because true success is not measured by how high you go, but by how many people you lift as you climb. The humble person remembers where they came from. They don't look down on others because they understand they didn't get to where they are alone. They acknowledge the teachers, the supporters, the opportunities, and even the failures that helped shape their journey. Humility also creates space for growth. A proud heart is a closed door, but a humble heart is open to feedback, open to correction, open to wisdom. When you're humble, you are never too good to learn from anyone. You can learn from a child, you can learn from your critics, you can even learn from your enemies. Pride blinds, but humility sees clearly. It listens, it reflects, and it adjusts. That's why humble people grow faster and last longer. And let's be honest, life has a way of humbling us all. Whether it's through disappointment, failure, rejection, or loss, there are moments that remind us just how human we really are. Those moments aren't meant to break us. They're meant to build us. They are invitations to become deeper, wiser, more grounded individuals. If we resist humility, life will force it on us. But if we embrace it willingly, it becomes a path to grace and strength. Humility is not about thinking you are less. It's about thinking of yourself less. It's about lifting others, serving others, encouraging others. Because you're not so focused on proving your worth that you forget your purpose. So when the world tells you to boast, to brag, to demand recognition, choose a different path. Let your work speak for itself. Let your character shine louder than your words. Let your life be a message of quiet excellence. Stay humble, not because you are small, but because you are strong enough to not need to be loud. Stay humble because true strength doesn't scream, it simply stands. And the strongest people in the room are often the ones who don't need to be seen at all. Your originality is your greatest asset. It is your personal signature in a world filled with duplicates. You were born with a specific design, a unique perspective, and a voice that no one else can replicate. The moment you try to imitate someone else, you begin to dilute the power of your presence. Originality is not about trying to be different just for the sake of standing out. It's about being fully and unapologetically yourself. It's about embracing your thoughts, your background, your passions, and your vision, even if they don't look like anyone else's. We live in a time where imitation has become the norm. People scroll through social media, see someone successful, and try to copy their style, their message, or even their personality. But here's the truth. You can never be the best version of someone else. You can only be the best version of yourself. And the world doesn't need another copy. It needs something authentic. It needs something fresh. It needs what only you can bring. Originality is where your influence begins. When you step into who you really are, when you create from your core, people can feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they are drawn to it. Why? Because originality carries energy. It carries a certain depth, a rawness, a truth that can't be faked. It connects, it resonates, it leaves a mark. Being original means taking risks. It means not everyone will understand you at first. Some might reject you, others might question you, but those who truly matter, the ones who are searching for something real, will recognize your voice. They will appreciate your honesty. And over time, they will respect your courage to be different in a world that demands conformity. You don't need to chase trends to be relevant. Trends come and go, but originality is timeless. It outlasts seasons. It breaks molds. It creates movements. Every great thinker, every true innovator, every meaningful leader, at some point they made a choice to stop following and start leading. And they led by being themselves. They didn't mimic, they created. They didn't conform, they transformed. There is power in trusting your uniqueness. Your mind was wired in a certain way. Your ideas come from a specific place. Your voice has a certain tone for a reason. Stop hiding behind imitation. Stop silencing what makes you different. That difference is your distinction. That difference is your destiny. Don't let fear of judgment make you bury your originality. The world will always have critics, but it also has seekers. People who are looking for something real, something bold, something true. And your originality could be the very answer they've been looking for. When you express your true self, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage becomes their inspiration. So don't shrink to fit in. Don't mold yourself to match what's popular. Let your originality shine, whether it's in your ideas, your art, your business, your voice, or your lifestyle. Because the moment you stop pretending and start creating from your authentic self, you unlock a life of meaning, impact, and fulfillment. You were not designed to follow someone else's blueprint. You are the architect of something new. So build boldly, speak freely, create passionately, and live in such a way that your originality becomes your legacy. Because the world doesn't need another echo. It needs a voice. And that voice is yours. In a world obsessed with appearances, filters, and performance, staying real has become a rare virtue. Being real means showing up as your true self without masks, without trying to impress, and without altering who you are to gain approval. It means being rooted in truth, your truth. It's about aligning your actions with your values, your words with your heart, and your life with your purpose. Staying real begins with honesty. Not just honesty with others, but honesty with yourself. It means you don't pretend to be okay when you're not. You don't smile to keep the peace when your soul is restless. You acknowledge your struggles. You admit when you're wrong. You accept that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. There's strength in that kind of vulnerability. Because being real isn't about having it all together. It's about being genuine, even when things fall apart. When you're real, you build trust. People may not always agree with you, but they'll respect your authenticity. They'll know where you stand. They'll feel safe around you, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. You're not one person in public and another in private. You don't shift with the crowd. You stay grounded, steady, and sincere. That's a rare kind of power, the kind that draws others in without effort. Being real doesn't mean being harsh or saying everything that's on your mind without wisdom. It means being kind without being fake. It means speaking truth with love and living in a way that doesn't compromise your values for temporary validation. It means you don't pretend to be someone you're not just to gain attention or approval. Because the moment you trade your truth for applause, you begin to lose yourself. Staying real also means standing alone sometimes. There will be seasons when people don't understand your journey. They may label you, misunderstand your intentions, or even criticize your choices. But when you know who you are, you don't need the crowd to confirm it. You walk in quiet confidence, not because everyone agrees with you, but because you've already made peace with yourself. And that inner peace, that's priceless. There's also freedom in being real. You're not weighed down by the pressure to perform or maintain a false image. You don't have to constantly remember who you pretended to be yesterday. You simply live, speak, and act in alignment with who you truly are. That kind of freedom allows your energy to go toward building, growing, loving, and creating rather than maintaining an illusion. Truth is, people are tired of fake. They're exhausted by perfection. What they crave is authenticity. Someone who's not afraid to show their scars. Someone who doesn't always win but never gives up. Someone who admits when they're weak but continues to stand. When you live that way, you give others permission to do the same. You remind people that it's okay to be human. So choose to be real. In your relationships, be honest. In your work, be ethical. In your goals, be intentional. Don't chase the image of success. Build the substance behind it. Don't fake happiness. Pursue peace. Don't wear a mask. Let your true self breathe, because the world doesn't need more performers. It needs more truth tellers, heart-led leaders, and soul-driven creators. At the end of the day, it's not about how many people liked your image. It's about how many lives were touched by your authenticity. So stay real, not for attention, not for applause, but because your truth is powerful. And when you live it boldly, you inspire others to do the same. In the pursuit of success, many people lose themselves by trying to fit into roles and expectations that don't reflect who they truly are. But your true power lies not in pretending to be what you think others want, but in embracing who you are at the core. Being authentic in all areas of your life is not only freeing, it's transformative. When you live authentically, you give yourself permission to grow, to express, and to live with deep purpose. Authenticity begins with self-awareness. You cannot be real with the world if you are disconnected from yourself. It requires you to pause and ask the hard questions. Who am I beyond what I do? What are my values, and am I living by them? What makes me feel alive? What breaks my heart? When you take the time to understand your inner world, you begin to uncover what truly matters to you, not what you were taught to want, Not what society expects, but what your soul actually longs for. Living authentically means your external life reflects your internal truth. Your decisions, your relationships, your work, these are all aligned with your deepest convictions. You're not driven by the pressure to please everyone. You're not shaped by fear of judgment. You're not changing your personality in every room you walk into. You carry the same integrity in every environment, not because you're stubborn, but because you've made peace with who you are. And this doesn't mean you're perfect. In fact, authenticity embraces imperfection. It says, this is who I am, flawed, learning, evolving, but real. And that kind of honesty creates connection. People can feel when you're being genuine. They trust you more. They're drawn to you not because you're flawless, but because you're relatable. In a world of performance and pretense, authenticity is magnetic. It also takes courage to be authentic. It means you won't always fit in. You might say no when others expect a yes. You may choose a different path than the one others consider safe or normal. But authenticity doesn't chase comfort, it chooses truth. And even if that truth costs you opportunities or approval, it gives you something far greater, inner peace. Because nothing is more exhausting than living a lie, and nothing is more powerful than living your truth. Living authentically impacts everything. In your career, it means doing work that aligns with your values, not just chasing titles or money. In your relationships, it means showing up with honesty, not just saying what the other person wants to hear. In your personal development, it means setting goals that reflect your vision, not someone else's version of success. It means you stop comparing, stop competing, and start creating from a place of realness. And here's something powerful. Your authenticity not only frees you, it gives others permission to be themselves too. When you live truthfully, you become a mirror. You remind people they don't have to hide. They don't have to pretend. They don't have to perform to be loved, accepted, or valued. They just have to be themselves. And that's how transformation spreads, from one authentic soul to another. So make the decision to live from the inside out. Don't betray your heart to follow the crowd. Don't water yourself down to keep the peace. Don't wear masks to gain applause. Be you fully, deeply, unapologetically. The right people will respect you. The right opportunities will find you. And most importantly, you'll look in the mirror every day and know you're living with truth, with purpose, and with power. Because there's nothing more beautiful or more impactful than a life lived in authenticity. Staying true to your identity in a world that constantly pressures you to conform is one of the most powerful commitments you can make to yourself. From the moment we're born, we are shaped by external influences. Family, culture, media, and society all play a part in telling us who we should be, what we should want, and how we should act. But the real journey of life begins when you start to peel back those layers and reconnect with who you truly are, not who you've been told to be. Your identity is your foundation. It's the essence of your personality, values, and purpose. When you truly know yourself, you stop seeking approval from outside sources. You stop chasing labels that don't belong to you. You begin to live with intention because you are no longer trying to become someone else. You are simply being yourself. And in a world full of imitation, that is a revolutionary act. But staying true to yourself isn't always easy. It often means going against the current. It means you won't always be understood. People might criticize you, question your choices, or try to mold you into something more familiar. But when you're anchored in your identity, those opinions lose their power over you. You don't shift your values to fit in. You don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You remain steady because you know who you are and what you stand for. There's a kind of quiet strength that comes from being rooted in your identity. You don't need to constantly prove yourself. You don't need to wear a mask or perform for approval. You're not swayed by trends or popularity. Instead, you walk in confidence. Not arrogance, but the deep assurance that your path, your pace, and your purpose are valid, even if they look different from everyone else's. Staying true to your identity also means honoring your story, your experiences, your struggles, your culture, your voice. It means embracing your uniqueness and refusing to trade it for imitation. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs you. Your perspective, your authenticity, your truth. When you live from that place, you stop comparing yourself to others because you realize you were never meant to compete with them. You were meant to complete what only you were designed to do. There's peace in that. Peace in knowing that you don't have to chase identity. It already exists within you. You just have to return to it. You have to remove the noise, the expectations, the lies you may have believed. And then you have to make a choice to show up as your true self, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's unpopular, and even when it costs you something. Because the reward of authenticity is greater than the comfort of conformity. And what happens when you stay true to your identity? You become whole. You attract relationships that honor the real you. You make decisions that align with your values. You create from a place of depth and originality. You inspire others, not by your perfection, but by your courage to live honestly. So in every room you enter, carry your truth. In every challenge you face, lead with your values. In every season of life, return to who you are. Let your identity guide your words, your actions, and your purpose. Because when the world tries to make you forget who you are, your greatest power will be your refusal to let go of it. Stay grounded, stay centered, and above all, stay true. We live in a time when many people are chasing applause, followers, validation, and public approval. But the truth is, what makes a person truly powerful isn't how loud their presence is, it's how solid their character is when no one's watching. Inner strength and self-respect are not built on popularity or attention. They are forged in silence, in solitude, and in those quiet moments when you choose integrity over recognition. When you learn to value yourself for who you are rather than what people think of you, you unlock a kind of freedom that no one can take away. Respecting yourself means setting boundaries. It means saying no when your heart doesn't agree. It means not compromising your values just to fit in or to be liked. It's easy to follow the crowd, to go with the flow, to do what everyone else is doing. But it takes real courage to say, this doesn't align with who I am, and walk away. That's the kind of power that isn't loud, but it's unshakable. That's what it means to stand tall in your own truth. Inner strength isn't just about enduring hard times. It's about the choices you make every day. Do you react or do you respond? Do you let your emotions drive your actions, or do you pause, reflect, and act with wisdom? Strength is found in that pause. It's in the discipline to not let your circumstances define your character. It's in the decision to remain calm when others provoke you. It's in the ability to carry yourself with dignity, even when no one notices or appreciates it. Self-respect also means refusing to settle for relationships, for jobs, for environments that diminish your worth. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. When you respect yourself, you no longer entertain disrespect. You walk away from anything that doesn't nourish your growth. You understand that peace is more valuable than attention, and dignity is worth more than applause. It's not about being prideful, it's about knowing your worth and honoring it in every area of your life. People with true inner strength don't need to show off. They don't need to boast or prove anything. Their presence speaks for itself. You feel their confidence not in their words, but in their calm. You sense their power not in their volume, but in their silence. They're not seeking validation. They're grounded in who they are. They know that what matters most is not what others say about them, but what they say to themselves when the room is empty. This kind of strength is built through consistency. It's built by choosing discipline over distraction, truth over convenience, purpose over popularity. It's built every time you decide to live according to your values, even when no one else sees or applauds you for it. It's not a moment, it's a lifestyle. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aligned. And that alignment creates peace. It creates clarity. It creates resilience. So if you want to be truly powerful, don't waste your energy trying to impress people. Don't bend your values just to gain approval. Don't compromise your authenticity for temporary acceptance. Instead, build yourself from the inside out. Cultivate strength of character. Build self-respect like a fortress, and carry yourself with quiet confidence, because in the end, the most powerful person in any room is the one who doesn't need to prove anything. They just know who they are, and they live accordingly. That's real power. That's inner strength. That's self-respect. There is a quiet beauty and simplicity that many people overlook. In a world overwhelmed with distractions, noise, and pressure to be more, do more, and have more, simplicity has become almost revolutionary. But those who understand its power know that a simple life is not an empty one, it's a focused one. When you choose simplicity, you are making space for what truly matters. You are clearing the clutter, not just from your surroundings, but from your mind, your heart, and your schedule. Simplicity doesn't mean lacking ambition. It doesn't mean living without goals or desires. What it means is that you become intentional. You stop chasing what doesn't serve your soul. You stop saying yes to everything just to be liked or accepted. You begin to prioritize depth over noise, meaning over popularity, and peace over pressure. You no longer need to compete or compare, because you realize that true contentment comes not from having more, but from needing less. Living simply allows you to be more present. When you're not constantly striving to keep up with others or fill every moment with noise, you begin to notice the small things. The warmth of the sun, the sound of your own breath, the laughter in a quiet room. These are the moments where life is lived. These are the moments that remind you that joy isn't hidden in the extraordinary. It's woven into the ordinary. But you can't experience that joy if you're too busy chasing something bigger, louder, or more glamorous. The power of simplicity is that it brings clarity. When you strip away the unnecessary, what remains is essential. You begin to understand who you are, what you value, and what truly fulfills you. This clarity helps you make better decisions, build healthier relationships, and pursue goals that are aligned with your purpose. Simplicity isn't about shrinking your life, it's about elevating it by focusing only on what uplifts you and letting go of what weighs you down. Simplicity also breeds authenticity. When you no longer feel the need to impress others with things, titles, or appearances, You start showing up as your real self. You find confidence in being honest, not flashy. You find power in being consistent, not dramatic. You find strength in being grounded, not constantly shifting to fit into someone else's expectations. That's when people begin to respect you, not for what you have, but for who you are. And simplicity cultivates gratitude. When you live simply, you become more aware of how much you already have. You stop chasing what's missing and start appreciating what's present. This shift in mindset changes everything. It turns routine into blessing, limitations into opportunities, and challenges into lessons. A simple life opens your eyes to the richness that was always there. You were just too busy or distracted to see it. But perhaps the greatest power of simplicity is the freedom it gives you. Freedom from stress, freedom from comparison, freedom from the trap of always needing more. When you simplify your life, you regain control. You become the architect of your time, your energy, and your peace. You begin to live life on your terms, not dictated by trends, expectations, or the chaos of the world, but led by your values, your joy, and your purpose. So simplify. Say no more often. Choose silence over noise. Choose presence over perfection. Choose fewer but deeper relationships. Choose what brings peace over what brings praise. In doing so, you'll discover that simplicity isn't the absence of ambition. It's the foundation of a focused, meaningful, and powerful life. It's not less, it's more of what truly matters. Consistency is one of the most underrated and powerful qualities you can develop in your life. While many people seek quick results and instant gratification, true success and growth come from showing up day after day with dedication and purpose. Consistency is what bridges the gap between dreams and reality. It is the small, deliberate actions repeated over time that create momentum and build lasting change. When you commit to consistency, you are making a decision to honor your goals even when motivation fades. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like waves. Some days you will feel inspired and energized, and other days you might feel tired, discouraged, or distracted. But consistency pushes you to keep moving forward regardless of how you feel. It trains your mind and body to work towards your vision through discipline, not just bursts of enthusiasm. Consistency also builds trust, both in yourself and from others. When you consistently show up, you prove to yourself that you are reliable, capable, and committed. This self-trust is essential because it strengthens your confidence and resilience. You begin to believe that you can handle challenges, overcome obstacles, and stay on course even when things get tough. Others also notice consistency. Whether in relationships, work, or personal growth, people respect and rely on those who are steady and dependable. They know they can count on you because you have demonstrated a pattern of dedication. Another important aspect of consistency is that it helps to create habits, and habits shape your identity. Every action you take repeatedly forms the foundation of who you become. If you consistently practice patience, kindness, or hard work, these qualities become part of your character. On the other hand, inconsistent behavior makes it difficult to build positive habits and results in erratic progress. Habits are the building blocks of success because they free your willpower by making positive actions automatic. This means less mental energy spent debating what to do and more energy focused on growth. Consistency also teaches patience. In a culture obsessed with instant results, learning to be patient is a powerful skill. Change, especially meaningful and lasting change, does not happen overnight. It requires persistent effort, sometimes for months or even years. When you remain consistent, you give yourself the time to develop skills, deepen understanding, and achieve breakthroughs. You learn to trust the process and embrace gradual improvement, instead of expecting sudden transformation. There is a compounding effect in consistency. Just as money earns interest over time, small efforts accumulate and multiply. One day of study, practice, or healthy choices might seem insignificant, but when repeated daily, they lead to exponential growth. This is why those who are consistent often outperform those who rely on sporadic bursts of effort. The steady stream of small actions eventually produces results that appear remarkable when viewed after weeks, months, or years. Consistency does not mean perfection, it means persistence. There will be days when you falter, miss a step, or face setbacks. The key is not to let those moments define you. Instead, get back on track as soon as possible and continue moving forward. Consistency is about long-term commitment, not short-term perfection. To cultivate consistency, it helps to clarify your why, the deeper reason behind your goals. When your purpose is clear and meaningful, it becomes easier to stay consistent because you are driven by something greater than fleeting feelings. It's also beneficial to create routines and systems that support your goals. This might mean scheduling regular time for practice, setting reminders, or finding accountability partners. Consistency is the foundation of success, growth, and personal transformation. It transforms intention into action, builds trust and habits, teaches patience, and leverages the power of compounding effort. By committing to consistency, you develop resilience, confidence, and momentum that carry you through challenges and keep you aligned with your vision. It is one of the most valuable investments you can make in yourself and your future. In a world where people constantly try to fit in, the courage to be yourself is one of the most powerful things you can cultivate. It takes strength to stand tall and live in alignment with who you really are, especially when the pressure to conform is everywhere. But authenticity is the foundation of inner peace, self-respect, and real connection. When you choose to be yourself unapologetically, you stop living for others and start living for something deeper, your truth. Being yourself doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest about your strengths, your flaws, your dreams, and your fears. It means embracing your story, even the messy parts, and owning your uniqueness without shame. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs your voice, your perspective, your originality. Your difference is not a weakness, it's your power. When you deny who you really are to fit someone else's mold, you shrink your soul. But when you show up as your true self, you expand your presence in the world. One of the reasons many people struggle to be themselves is because they fear judgment. They worry about what others will think, how they'll be perceived, or whether they'll be accepted. But the truth is, no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. Trying to please everyone is a never-ending cycle that leaves you exhausted and empty. It's far better to be disliked for being real than to be liked for being fake. At least when you are yourself, you are building your life on solid ground. And the people who truly belong in your life will accept and respect you for who you are, not who you pretend to be. Being yourself also requires self-awareness. You have to know who you are before you can be who you are. That means taking time to reflect, to understand your values, your passions, your boundaries, and your purpose. It means being honest with yourself about what you want, what you believe, and what truly matters to you. The more you understand yourself, the less you feel the need to seek validation from others. You start making choices not out of fear or pressure, but out of alignment with your true identity. There's also a quiet confidence that comes with being yourself. You don't have to try so hard to impress anyone. You don't have to wear a mask or act like someone you're not. You simply walk in your own truth. That kind of authenticity is magnetic. It draws the right people to you, those who resonate with your energy, values, and vision. and it repels those who were never meant for you in the first place. When you're real, you attract what's real. Being yourself doesn't mean you stop growing. On the contrary, it means you grow deeper into who you were always meant to be. It means you evolve from a place of self-respect, not self-rejection. You can work on your flaws and build better habits without pretending to be someone else. Growth becomes authentic and lasting when it's rooted in who you are, not who you think you should be. It takes courage to be yourself in a world that constantly tries to tell you who to be. But that courage leads to a life of freedom. You free yourself from the chains of approval, the weight of comparison, and the fear of rejection. You begin to live with integrity, aligning your words, actions, and beliefs. That alignment is where power lives. That's where purpose finds you. So be yourself, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when it's unpopular. Because when you choose to be real, you choose to live from the inside out, not the outside in. And that is where true strength, peace, and fulfillment are found. In a culture that often glorifies material success and outward achievement, it is easy to forget the importance of gratitude and humility. These two qualities are not only essential for maintaining inner peace, but they are also the keys to real, lasting fulfillment. Without gratitude, we fall into a cycle of constant dissatisfaction, always chasing the next goal, always comparing ourselves to others, and never feeling like we have enough. Without humility, we become blind to our own limitations and disconnected from the people and values that matter most. But when you combine both, something powerful happens. You find contentment, resilience, and deep purpose. Gratitude starts with awareness. It is the ability to look around, even in difficult moments, and still find something to be thankful for. It doesn't mean you deny your struggles or pretend everything is perfect. It means you choose to focus on what's good, what's working, and what you've been given. When you practice gratitude, your perspective shifts. You begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You begin to see growth instead of loss. And over time, your heart becomes softer, more open, and more receptive to life's blessings. Gratitude also helps you to remain grounded. Success can be intoxicating. It can cause you to forget where you came from, to take people for granted, or to believe that everything you have is the result of your own doing. But nothing we achieve is done in isolation. There are always people, seen or unseen, who helped along the way. There are moments of grace, of divine timing, of kindness and support. Gratitude reminds you to acknowledge those factors. It keeps you from falling into arrogance or entitlement. It helps you honor the journey, not just the destination. Humility, on the other hand, is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. It is the recognition that while you may have achieved a lot, you are still human. You still have flaws. You still have more to learn. Humility keeps your ego in check. It allows you to accept feedback, admit mistakes, and continue growing. When you are humble, you understand that you don't have all the answers, and you don't need to. You make space for wisdom, for collaboration, and for genuine connection with others. Together, gratitude and humility protect you from the dangers of pride and comparison. When you're grateful, you stop comparing your life to others because you recognize the value of your own. When you're humble, you don't look down on others or feel the need to constantly prove yourself. You operate from a place of quiet strength, not loud insecurity. And that is a rare and admirable quality in today's world. Living with gratitude and humility also makes you a better leader, friend, and human being. People are drawn to those who are real, kind, and grounded. They trust those who admit their weaknesses and celebrate others' successes. They respect those who uplift instead of compete. Whether you lead a company, a family, or simply yourself, these qualities build trust, inspire others, and create a culture of respect and compassion. To cultivate gratitude and humility, start small. Begin each day by naming a few things you're thankful for. Reflect on the people who have impacted your life. Notice the small blessings. A sunrise, a conversation, a lesson learned. Practice humility by listening more, judging less, and giving credit where it's due. Remind yourself that everyone is fighting a battle you may not see, and that true strength lies in kindness, not dominance. Gratitude and humility won't make headlines, but they will make your life rich. They won't necessarily get you instant fame or recognition, but they will give you peace, purpose, and lasting relationships. And in the end, those are the things that matter most. Being authentic in a world full of pretense is one of the most courageous decisions a person can make. Authenticity is not about broadcasting every detail of your life or shouting your opinions louder than anyone else. It's about being honest with yourself and living in alignment with your core values. It's choosing integrity over image, character over popularity, and truth over comfort. In a society that often rewards image and performance, staying authentic requires strength, discipline, and a deep understanding of who you are. Authenticity begins with self-awareness. You can't be real if you don't know who you are. That's why it's so important to spend time reflecting on your values, your passions, your boundaries, and your purpose. Know what you stand for. Know what you believe in. When you're clear about your inner compass, it becomes easier to stay steady even when others try to sway you. You won't have to wear a mask to fit in or pretend to be someone you're not. Your clarity will become your guide, and your life will begin to reflect who you truly are on the inside. The pressure to conform is everywhere, on social media, in workplaces, within friend groups, and even in families. The temptation to be who others expect you to be can be overwhelming. But every time you compromise your authenticity for acceptance, you lose a piece of yourself. And over time, those small compromises add up. You begin to feel disconnected, unsure of your direction, and emotionally exhausted. Authenticity is the cure to that internal conflict. It is the freedom to stop pretending and start living. It is the permission to be vulnerable, to take off the mask, and to let people see the real you, even if not everyone understands or approves. Being authentic doesn't mean you never change. It means you evolve truthfully. It means your growth comes from a desire to be a better version of yourself, not a copy of someone else. You're not trying to impress or compete. You're trying to align. That kind of growth is sustainable because it's rooted in self-respect. It's not based on trends or opinions, but on timeless truths about who you are and what you're meant to contribute. Authenticity also impacts how you relate to others. When you're real, people can feel it. They may not always agree with you, but they will respect you. Authenticity builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every strong relationship, whether personal or professional. When you show up as yourself, you give others permission to do the same. Your authenticity becomes an invitation for deeper connection, honest communication, and mutual respect. Living authentically also means having the courage to say no. Not every opportunity aligns with your values. Not every crowd is meant for you. Not every trend deserves your participation. It's okay to step away from things that don't feel right, even if everyone else is going along. It's okay to stand alone if it means standing in truth. The more you practice this, the stronger your inner voice becomes. And the more you trust that voice, the more peaceful and powerful your life becomes. You were not created to be a replica. You were created to be original. The world needs your authenticity more than your perfection. It needs your story, your heart, your voice, your truth. When you choose to be real, you may not always fit in, but you will always belong to yourself. And that is the foundation of a meaningful life. So don't trade your authenticity for approval. Don't dilute who you are to make others comfortable. Be bold in your truth. Be kind in your convictions. And never forget that your greatest strength is not in how well you fit in, but in how fearlessly you stand out by simply being yourself. In a fast-paced world that glorifies external achievements and flashy appearances, it's easy to lose sight of what really matters. People are often more concerned with how they look, how many followers they have, or how much attention they receive, than with how they treat others or the impact they leave behind. But the truth is, real success, and one of the most powerful principles to live by, is this: let your actions speak louder than your words. We live in an age where talk is cheap. It's easy to post quotes about integrity or share videos about kindness. It's easy to say the right things, wear the right clothes, or give the appearance of success. But words without action are empty. What truly defines you is not what you say you will do, but what you consistently follow through on. People may listen to your words, but they will believe your action. And over time, your actions become your reputation. The beauty of action is that it doesn't need validation. You don't have to explain your motives or convince others of your intentions when your behavior consistently reflects your character. When you show up, do the work, honor your commitments, treat others with respect, and remain steady through challenges, you are already communicating something far more powerful than words ever could. You're telling the world that you are reliable, that your values aren't just ideas, they are a lifestyle. Letting your actions speak louder also means practicing humility. It means choosing not to boast or draw attention to your good deeds, but to quietly lead by example. There's something deeply admirable about people who are doing great things without needing to announce it. Their strength lies in their consistency. They don't seek praise or applause. They find satisfaction in knowing they did what was right, even when no one was watching. That kind of silent integrity builds trust, loyalty, and deep respect. When you live this way, you naturally attract the right kind of people into your life. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to sell yourself or prove your worth. The right people will recognize your value through the way you live, not the way you talk. Your relationships become more genuine, your influence more authentic, and your leadership more effective because people follow examples, not instruction. They learn from what you do, not just what you say. This principle also applies to self-growth. You can read all the self-help books in the world, attend seminars, and talk about your goals endlessly, but unless you take consistent action, none of it matters. Change doesn't come from inspiration alone. It comes from application. Discipline, routine, and perseverance are what transform vision into reality. Action is the bridge between your intentions and your outcomes. If you want to build confidence, achieve goals, or earn respect, you must do the work. Not just plan it or talk about it. Letting your actions speak louder also teaches patience. True transformation takes time, and the results don't always show up overnight. But if you stay committed, stay consistent, and stay focused on doing what is right, the results will eventually follow. Your life will begin to reflect the depth of your character. And when people look at you, they won't just see someone who talks about values, they'll see someone who lives them. People may forget what you said, they may forget the speeches, the promises, even the compliments, but they will remember how you made them feel. They will remember the example you set. So let your life be your message. Let your consistency be your credibility. Let your kindness be your testimony. And let your actions speak, because actions speak with a clarity and honesty that words can never match.